up, everybody? Today we're going to be replacing brake booster in our e12 with something slightly more modern. This is the old booster. It is heavy. It is so heavy. I dropped it like 3 times before this because it was so heavy and it catches me off guard every time I pick it up. But this is the booster. I just took it out. 4 bolts here, 2 bolts in the front. Very straightforward. I'll talk to you all about that in a second. But we are replacing this with something a lot more modern. This is a 50-year-old piece of metal right here. And we are replacing it with this guy right here, an e90 brake booster. The part number is going to be right there. No clue if that's in focus, but I'll put it in the description. This booster is so much lighter, like so much lighter. And it's newer, it's not rusty, it's not crusty. Just makes sense. I got this idea from reading some e30 posts because, as some of you probably know, if you're familiar with the e12 and motor swaps, a lot of people use the e30 brake boosters because they're smaller. You start reading e30 posts and videos and whatever, you'll see the e90 brake booster is a popular choice for those guys doing 24 valve swaps, M50s, S50s, whatever they do. Smaller boosters. So clear train of thought is e30 boosters fit in e12s, e90 boosters fit in e30s, e90 booster fits in e12. And it does. I tested it, I already put it in. These bolts line up. You have 2 instead of 4. Super easy. But this bad boy right here is going to be your downfall. I originally planned on cutting it and threading this rod, but instead I had a better idea. Okay, this is going to be my better idea, but first, let me take a step back. This is much shorter. This measures out from the base. You're looking at like 4 and almost 5 inches, I guess. 4 7/8, about there. This measures out to 8.5. That's clearly not going to work, so that's why I said I was going to cut this, thread it, essentially thread this on. But if I do that, I'm still gonna fall short. So I had the idea of, if I take this off, and also, not to mention, this is skinnier than here. If I slide this in here, drill a hole, gives me the exact measurement I need. So, I'm gonna do that real quick. Also, I guess before I get too far, let me do some measurements. This wrapped around, we're looking at a little over 26.5. I don't really have it tight. Let's see what this is over here. This ends up measuring 31 inches, so that's a huge difference. I don't know the math of how it actually is, but that'll give you plenty of room for any motor swap you're doing. Also, it'll just modernize your brake system. Okay, so it's me from the future. I filmed that video and I just stopped partway through. I was busy working instead of actually filming. I guess to pick up where I left off, I was drilling the clevis. Make sure your measurements are correct. It will bolt right in, exactly how it came apart. Once it bolts in, you should essentially have this. It's a brake booster. This is way farther than where I left you off, but this just bolts right in. It goes 2 bolts, super easy, no problem there at all. This is where things get more complicated. This is a 2002 reservoir with grommets to make it work. I can look up the part numbers, but if you Google e30, e90 booster, you'll find all the parts information there. This is the factory e12 cap, so the brake light should actually work. I ended up going with a left-hand drive e90 booster. I should have done a right-hand drive, so the lines actually came out this side, but whatever. I made all new lines. I'm going to be running 540i brakes because I'm going to be doing e34 struts, which I have a whole like crazy suspension setup. But if you're running regular e12 lines and everything like that, you would just do a couple T fittings to make all that work. You can figure that out yourself. I have my front brake coming out here. It's got a tight bend, loops around here to a T. This goes down to here. The other one goes along the firewall. Factory, pretty straightforward there. Ended up doing the rear brakes bend down. I replaced the factory bias valve with a Willwood one there, and then that goes to the back and operates as normal. It's pretty simple of a swap, if I do say so. This gets a little close here technically. If you don't like this, like when they touch, I don't think it'll ever be a problem. But technically, you could get this to be remote mounted like it's kind of supposed to be. You can mount it over here. There's a couple little plugs that you'll plug in there, and it'll just have 2 hoses that run. I chose not to just because I saw like one kit was like $130. I already had everything I needed here, so I didn't do it. But also, I guess one thing I didn't talk about is this check valve, non-return valve. Mine did not come with it. This is just an AutoZone one. The part number's here. It'll focus. It's, I think, a 1/2 inch into the brake booster. This hose, I don't know if it's going to be too small. I'd probably just buy the E90 one. They're available. They're like $15, $16 on like FCB Euro. But this one was down the street from me. It was $8. I'm going to try it, see if that works. Otherwise, just use stock one and stock E36 hose, and life's good. But with all that being said, it's pretty straightforward. Hopefully it helps you. Hopefully you enjoy this. Hopefully you enjoy the progress of the car. And there's going to be maybe a couple more videos coming. The last time I filmed the video, the car was nowhere close to running. Where now all of a sudden, she's a runner. Just waiting on suspension. So yeah, stay tuned. More good stuff on the way. Thanks for watching. Peace.